What's going on, everybody? I woke up thinking today was Saturday. It's like Friday. So I'm going to go over just a couple of questions I get over and over. Thought I would make a video for. Shipping. Free shipping compared to putting a flat rate on shipping is what I do. I don't use I've never used calculated. I've always used flat rate, just a flat price for shipping. And then I'm going to go over questions about sourcing. How do I know what to grab, and making quick decisions and things like that. So on the shipping front, like I said, I've always used flat rate shipping for my items, except for 1 year. 1 year I tried free shipping when they were hyping it all up there at the beginning. I'm like, okay, I'm going to try this. And I did it for a year. My conclusion is free shipping is overrated. It's not really something that is useful unless you're in, say, like a new item competitive market. Then it matters. If you're into like thrifting and unique items or things that there's not a lot of out there, it doesn't really matter from my experience. I mean, I could be wrong. And as I'm talking, if there's anything that I'm saying that maybe I haven't thought of, or maybe I'm not looking at it in the right perspective, comment below and let me know, because like I said before, I'm always open mind person. I'm not, the type of person that's always dead set on something. I always try to look at all the pictures and make the best decision for my situation. As with everything in business, the way you should look at things, whether it's sourcing or whatever. You have to do what works for you in your situation, because some people could be in a major city, people could be in a rural country town. So another thing about shipping, one person could be on the East Coast or the West Coast. Then shipping's a totally different bird, because you're shipping farther than me in the middle. I've got a nice radius, where on the coast, you're going to be using like the whole diameter of the circle to ship, which costs more nowadays, the way they set it up in tiers or whatever, sections or whatever they call it. So when I did free shipping, I did mostly media at that time, but my experiences, what I've come to realize during that was people expect to pay shipping. It's like 90% of people expect to pay shipping. I did less numbers, I did less profit when I did free shipping as opposed to charging shipping. I think the one thing that irritated me the most when I did free shipping is people would send offers that wouldn't even cover the shipping cost, let alone the price of the cost of the item. So that was like the main thing that just irked me so bad, is because I was declining so many offers saying, this doesn't even cover shipping. This doesn't even cover shipping. And for somebody, even with me, with my experience, I mean, I can pick up an item and tell you what it's going to ship at, 97% of the time I'll be pretty spot on. I'm not giving 100 because the way the prices change every year. So there's room for error in there. But so even with me knowing that, okay, I listed that item 6 months ago. I kind of remember the weight of it. I think it would cost me $7 to ship. So then you have to, mentally go through, did this person offer you enough to cover shipping, to cover the cost of the item, and to make the item worthwhile? And it was a pain in the ass, because you're working your brain more than you really need to. And it's just, it's not conducive to a nice workflow business. It's just, every time I got an offer, it was like throwing a wrench in the system, because you got to an item that you think is going to cost you $10 to ship. You've got it up for $30. So $20 is what you're going to make out of it. They offer you, $15. Then you go, okay, I think that's going to cost me $10 to ship. So I'm only going to be making $5 on it. And it's just a headache, a major, major headache. When you're charging shipping, all you have to do is say yes or no. There's no mental calculating in your head to see if you're going to cover all your costs. And that was the biggest pain in the ass when it comes to me. And like I said, I made less profit. I made less money overall. When I added shipping back on, that next year, I went back up in numbers. I'm like, what? And I came to the conclusion that most people expect to pay shipping, at least on unique used items. If you're doing like all retail arbitrage or something like that, then it may be a different story. Because then you're competing with every other person who goes to Walmart out there. So when you're doing thrift stores, you're at least getting more unique items, or items that are not flooded in the marketplace, if you will. So people expect to pay some shipping. Also, another advantage on paying or for charging flat shipping is combined orders. And I'll kind of make this point with what I know with music CDs. Now, when I was doing free shipping, my combined order rate went way down. And I think that was a big key on why my numbers went down. People weren't coming in buying 20, 30, 40 items from me at one time. Because on free shipping, I've got a higher number. So I'm charging, say, let me get a calculator here. Say, okay, I'm going to charge $5 for these CDs. So they'll come in, and if they wanted to order, say, 10 $5 CDs, that's going to be your $50. So they're paying $50 for these 10 CDs at $5. Now, with the combined shipping rate, you can be competitive on your combined shipping. As far as I know, I've got pretty much the lowest combined shipping rate out there that I've seen or come across. On media in the US, I only charge 50 cents for each additional CD. Some people would charge like $1.75 or, what have you. With t-shirts and hats, I charge just an extra $1 per item to ship. So I take advantage of the combined shipping rate to get my order number up. So on that part, a $5 CD, I would have it in my store for the equivalent of $5 would be $3.50, so $1.50. So if they wanted the same 10 CDs, it'd be $1.50 times 10, right? So that's $15. Then my first shipping rate would be the $3.49. And then for each additional would only be 50 cents. So that's 9 times 50 cents equals $4.50. So instead of paying $50 for those CDs, the customer's only paying $22.99 for those same CDs. So when you've got free shipping, they're paying more than double what you would normally make. Now, on the if you're the seller, you're like, oh, well, that's great, I'm making more money. No, because you got a lot less sales that way. People aren't stupid. They're not going to sit here and go, okay, I'm going to pay $5, $5, $5, $5 because it's free shipping. Yay, free shipping. No. People can do math. There's a lot of smart people out there. People aren't stupid. They're going to look at two different sellers. If they could get one who's got free shipping, one who doesn't, and they do the math, they're going to go with me every time because it's only going to cost them half of what they would pay at the other place for free shipping. So you got to look at it like that. So if you do charge for shipping, take advantage of combined shipping. I'm not even taking advantage of it as much as I should. I should have it listed in my detail and my descriptions, but I don't because I've learned over the years, things change. especially now, every year the post office changes things. When you set yourself in like that, you're set in until you end that item and, or that item sells or you edit that item. And when you got 25,000 items, that's a pain in the ass. So I learned over time not to put too much in the description. I put as little as possible in the description. I don't even describe my items. On CDs and stuff like that, I tell them it won't have no scratches or very light scratches. But like on shirts and hats, I put in there, please see pictures for detailed description or for the details of the item. And then I'll take up close pictures of them because it's a lot quicker to do it like that than to type in, oh, this item has this item has that. And sometimes if it's major, I'll type it in there just to put it in there. But so I learned not to, so I could be taking more advantage of the combined shipping rate if I would tell people what my combined shipping rate is. They don't know unless they add it to a cart or they email me first. And I do get a lot of emails asking if I combine shipping rate. I just answered 2 a few minutes ago. So that is probably the major difference, at least for me on my end, on the difference of free shipping and not free shipping, is I have bigger orders and make more money when I charge shipping. And if you only have a few items or a few hundred items, then that might not be the case for you. But if you're looking to grow and grow big and just do like I do, like I don't go out and just source the super great stuff. I've been taking pictures all day yesterday. I'm going to take pictures all day today. People, I make a lot of money on just average stuff. Just your run-of-the-mill average stuff. And people like to get that as cheap as possible. And the best way to do that is charging shipping with a low combined shipping rate. So that is where I'm at on the shipping part. Also, I wanted to throw into another, now this is new. So here's the theory, because I don't know the answer yet. Maybe next time I call eBay, I will ask and see if they know the answer or will give me the answer. With promoted listings. Okay, promoted listings, they only take a percentage of the cost, the cost of the item, the price of the item. So if you're not charging shipping, if you're doing free shipping, you've got your shipping tied up into that number. So you're charging $10 with free shipping for an item. Say you, for the sake of it, you do 5% on your promoted listings. So that's 50 cents. So they're taking 50 cents at 5% of your $10. Well, if I'm charging $5 for that item and $5 shipping, and I can go up on my percentage to match your 50 cents at 10%. Now, here's where it comes into question where I have not found an answer for it yet. And if anybody knows, please comment below. Does eBay's system, their algorithm, base it on the percentage somebody's paying or the dollar amount that eBay will get from that percentage? If they're taking it from the percentage number, I have an advantage over you by charging shipping. Now, if they're taking it off the number that they're going to make, 50 cents, then the free shipping will have the advantage because you have the same amount taken, but you have free shipping, so you might get better placement. So I don't know the details of that one yet to know who has the advantage because I don't know how their algorithm is set up, if it's percentage or if it's the money they make from that percentage. So that's another, I gotta get more details into that to know the answer to it, but it's something to think about. So, I think that's all. Some of my quick notes on shipping. Let me go to here and see if I can see if any more questions pop out at me. Not really. So another question I get a lot is, how do I know what to grab when I'm outsourcing? And that kind of starts with what I've always said before: start with what you know, what you love. When you know what you're picking, you can make quick decisions on what to pick. Now, over time, then you'll gain more experience on things to look for. Some of obviously the things that I've told you in the past videos to look for is I divide everything up in categories in my head. There's, transportation related. There's, sports related, different categories like that. But then there's also other categories like quality, stitching. When you pick up an item, does it feel heavier than what you expected it to be? If so, that's a higher quality item, then grab that item. And then also too, you can always look it up later. It's always best to grab, put in your cart, and then look up later, because it could be gone next time you go back. So don't waste your time finding an item, looking it up, putting it in a cart. Find an item, looking it up, passing. You got to go through maybes. And then if you're not sure, look it up. With me, I don't really look too much up when I'm in the stores unless it's something I've never experienced before. And there ain't much left out there like that. But there are things like stereo systems. If you're doing electronics equipment, you have to look up the model number unless you know. So that's something I still look up when I see it, because they fluctuate so much. And a lot of people, like with electronics, are so big, a lot of people charge too little shipping. So they'll charge $50 for this item, but only charge $10 for this huge receiver, when I know that receiver is going to cost closer to $50 to ship. So they're actually only going to make $5-7 off this receiver. So if I've got one sitting in front of me for $10, I can't buy it, because they're not charging their shipping correctly to make up for it. So they've undercut the whole market. And the funny thing is, a lot of people don't even realize that they're going to be losing money on this item, because they're undercutting what it's actually going to cost to ship it. And when you do that, if you don't know your shipping amounts, you can trash a market on something, and it can make it not worth buying for you. And there's obviously other ways to look at it. Vintage, if it's vintage, grab. Vintage toys, vintage clothes, vintage hats. Now, how do you know if it's vintage? Well, that's when it comes down to the details that you have to learn over time. Just like I had said in one of my prior videos, I can look at a spine of a CD and tell you pretty much when that CD was released. That comes with time of working with that item. That's not something I can really teach you. I mean, I could sit here and say, well, this font's bigger than this font, but if I don't have another one to compare it to show you, you're really not going to know. Columbia never put their name down here. It used to be up here, and the stock number used to be over here, and it used to be white with red letters. And see, I could tell you all that, but you're not going to remember it or anything like that unless you deal with it every day. Like I can tell you just from looking at that spine that is a remastered version of Billy Joe's Stormfront, and is not anywhere near going to be like one of the first pressings, or made in Germany. Also, too, on something like CDs, you got to know more details. Like, I'll use Meatloaf Bat Out of Hell 2 album. If you know Meatloaf, Bat Out of Hell 2 album. When it first came out, if you remember the cover, if you know the cover, if you don't, Google it real quick. It has the guy on the motorcycle shooting out, blue background, kick-ass picture. It's plastered on the disc. The whole cover of the album is on the disc. Well, as time goes on and sales started slowing of that CD, they would cut the cost to promote it, or for producing that CD. So then I think the next one, the picture got lighter. So they didn't use as much color on it. And then they eventually went, I believe, with the silver. I think it was silver, with black lettering. So they eventually took the whole picture off. So as time went on, they would cut costs of that CD. And that's how you can kind of tell on certain stuff too, when it was pressed, if it's a first pressing, not a first pressing. And like I said, all that comes with experience and know-how. And that's the same goes true with t-shirts, something like t-shirts. If you look at a t-shirt, you can tell by the thinness of it whether it's single stitched on the arm or double stitched. The tag itself, I took a lot of pictures, but I don't really think I have anything right in front of me. Here we go. Let's see, I don't see, but it's just with over time. You have to know like about the time period that Fruit of the Loom tag came out compared to say like this logo athletic tag came out. So I know that that is a vintage tag because they don't make tags like that on newer stuff. A lot of t-shirts, they even print it on the shirt now. So you just have to know from experience, and the best way to do that is just on stuff like that is see if there's a date on the item. So if you see a tag and you go, oh, that tag's a little odd, look for a date, look for a small print date, and then you can kind of mentally date that style of tag with that item. Like there's a mid-90s tag that is black on t-shirts. There's two different versions. Was it? Now I forgot the name. Best Stars, Star Screens. Star Screens, it's a black tag, and then Fruit of the Loom also had a black tag, and I think it was like Best or something like that. I can't remember exactly offhand. When I see it, I know it. I know those two tags are mid-90 tags, and that's a shirt I need to grab. And then two, you got to break it down into categories, like I said. When it comes, even with like Levi's and Nike brand, if you know the tags and the dates of the tags, that makes it easier to make decisions on if it's something you should grab. And there are websites out there. I don't know any offhand. I just kind of Google things that I don't know and look for, and I click on the first thing I see. So I don't know any offhand that I can recommend or link below. If I find any, I'll put them below. But so if you learn when a company changes tag styles, then you can date the item real quick when you see it. And all that comes with time. So there's really, if you start with something simple, like I have said, categorize. Start with categories that you know, and start from there. Like I'll grab anything and everything transportation related. I'll grab anything and everything sports related. I will grab anything and everything, trying to think, what else? Off the top of my head, I can't even think. Trucker hats. I'll grab every trucker hat, and then I'll look at it, look at the tag, see if I can date it just by looking at it. And a lot of things you can tell just by wear, if it's older or not. Obviously, there's going to be newer stuff that people wear out, but maybe what I'll start to do is I'll start making some video series where when I'm coming across that stuff while I'm listing it, that I can show you comparisons. And I'll do like a comparisons video on, shirt tags or Levi tags or spines of CDs or whatever. And you just got to look for details. I'm a very detail-oriented person when I'm looking for things. So you've got to always look at the details. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. And like purses, I don't know much about purses, so I base all before I grab a purse and throw it in my cart to look it up, weight, stitching is the two key items I go for when I look at purses, because I know like Coach and Michael Kors and stuff like that, but when you see something that is faked a lot too, you're going to have to do more research into that. So one major thing is weight. Next thing is nice clean stitching, because cheap stuff, stitching doesn't matter. It can be all over the place, crooked, whatever the case may be. If it's a high dollar item, it's going to be perfectly stitched. It's going to be nice, neat, and clean. And it's going to have some weight to it. So you have to just take all those different variables. I'm sure there's a lot of videos out here on YouTube that you can just type in, how to spot a counterfeit this, or, let me just type something in right now. Let's go with Levi tag history. So type in Levi tag history, everything you need to know about Levi's, Two Horse, Red Eye, Batwing logos. Easy and quick tips how to identify vintage Levi's. So plenty of information out there. There's even a documentary on the 501 jeans. Ooh, that's kind of cool. I might watch that one. That's put out by Levi. I'm going to watch that today. And that's the best way. Just consume everything. Visually, sounds. I mean, you never know what is going to help you make a decision when you're looking at something. Whether it's, you know, the colors, the color palette itself. 80s and 90s color palettes. I mean, you can spot those a mile away. But then you have to look at it and say, okay, is this a repop item? Repop meaning something newer that was made to look old. And then you can tell that by the tag and by the quality, by the stitching, and things like that. So that's the best advice I can give you, is just always pay detailed attention to everything. And kind of just make mental pictures of it. I work best with mental pictures. I don't work good with reading and stuff like that. I like having visuals. So that's how I absorb it all pretty easily. It's just mentally pictures. So that's about it. So hopefully that something in this video helps you guys and gives you a little perspective and maybe helps you out a little bit. And if it did, please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I got an eBay way video coming. So if you're watching that series, episode, I guess 16 maybe, 16, 17 is coming. So I'll try to get that done today. And thanks everybody for watching. Like.